I'm Alexa Schwerha with Campus Reform, and you're watching 5 Big Questions. On June 24th, the Supreme Court voted to overturn Roe v. Wade, handing decisions about abortion down to the states. 13 states were expected to pass trigger laws which would immediately ban abortion after the ruling. On the day of the ruling, Ohio enacted its heartbeat bill, effectively banning abortion after a heartbeat can be detected in the unborn child. Joining me now to discuss the bill and the overturning of Roe is Ohio Right to Life President Mike Gonidakis. What do you find is the biggest misconception about the overturn?
I think the single most alarming misconception of the Dobbs decision last Friday was that abortion is illegal now in the United States, when in fact the opinion did not say they supported abortion, nor did they say they opposed abortion. In fact, they said we're agnostic on abortion. It's not a federal issue. It's not a court issue. This is an issue that should be determined by the citizens of the state of Ohio or the 49 other states. So when I see people protesting saying it's illegal to have an abortion now, that's just not true, because there's states like California and New York that have laws on the books currently that passed by their legislature, signed by their governor, that says abortion is fine, in their words, up to and through 9 months of pregnancy. I think it's abhorrent, but yet in those two states, the people that live there elected their state reps and state senators and governor to pass those laws. And that's the laws right now in those two states and many others. Now, states like Ohio and others, we're going to limit it, reduce it, or eliminate it. And we'll see where we end up.
So, the overturn of Roe v. Wade really cleared the path for the heartbeat bill to be enacted in Ohio. Can you talk a little more about what the bill is and how it will impact Ohioans?
We passed the heartbeat bill back in 2019. It was the first pro-life law that Governor DeWine signed. Sadly and unfortunately, a federal judge in Cincinnati, Ohio, issued a temporary restraining order, so the law never got to go into effect back in 2019. Well, last Friday, our great pro-life Attorney General Dave Yost marched into federal court and asked for the injunction to be lifted because Dobbs case came out and the judge lifted that order last Friday. So as of last Friday at about 4:45, 5 p.m., the heartbeat law is now the law of the state of Ohio, which says every abortion doctor has to first perform an ultrasound. And if they detect a baby's beating heart, the abortion cannot take place, period. So that's the current standard we have in Ohio as of today moving forward.
Here at the Leadership Institute's Campus Reform, we report exclusively on higher education and college campuses. And college students are a large target for abortions. Women between the ages of 20 and 24 make up 28% of abortions. So at Ohio Right to Life, how do you recommend that college-age women be helped throughout their pregnancy so that abortion is not only illegal, but it's unthinkable?
Great question. We believe that Ohio should have the strongest social service safety net for all women, whether they find themselves in unattended pregnancy or they just need health care. We support Medicaid expansion back in 2011 under former Governor John Kasich. We support it today. Every woman should have access to a doctor. Students on all college campuses in Ohio have access to health care through the university or other means, whether they use their parents at home. There's clinics on campus. Ohio Right to Life does not take a position on birth control, but we believe that if there is a college-age student that finds himself in unattended pregnancy, we need to make sure that they have access to prenatal care, housing assistance, rental assistance, utility assistance, WIC, SNAP, whatever those things they may need, diapers, formula, whatever they need to have a healthy pregnancy, and then raise their baby or place their baby for adoption if that's what they choose. So we need to take a common sense approach. We currently provide over $1 billion with a B, $1 billion a year in aid to women, whether they find themselves in unattended pregnancy or not. It's a whole package that Governor DeWine put a website out last Friday to demonstrate that we mean business here in Ohio when we help women.
A major belief among the pro-abortion movement is that abortion regulation, abortion decisions are made by men. However, here at the Leadership Institute's Campus Reform, we've reported and attended a number of protests for the pro-life movement that have a significant amount of women in support in attendance. So how would you debunk this stereotype that pro-life decisions are made primarily by men?
Yeah, it's unfortunate because, it's just a lazy talking point that's been used throughout the 14 years I've been with Ohio Right to Life. Most, if not all, the bills that we introduce at the State House here in Ohio are introduced by women, female legislators, regardless of their age, whether they be young in their early 30s or in their 50s or 60s. We like to have a woman introduce and carry these bills to knock down those false stereotypes. Attending any rally, any church service, any group get together we have, you're going to see a diversity of people, Black, white, rich, rich, poor, male, female, young, old, gay, straight. We truly are a big tent movement, the pro-life movement. We accept everyone. You can be a Democrat and be pro-life. You're welcome at our table. You can be anything and be pro-life, Muslim, Jewish, Christian, and be welcome at our table. We just ask you to be pro-life.
And my final question for you, how does Ohio Right to Life plan to advance the pro-life movement in post-Roe America?
As I mentioned earlier, our work has just begun. We are not finished. We need to pass a law that ends abortion in Ohio. We have the heartbeat standard now, as we talked about, and we believe we can get that to the governor's desk by late November this year. They're on break right now. We have a redistricting problem, so we have the primary coming up in August, which is usually in May. A different issue, different subject, but they're on break right now. And if they weren't on break, we would have them at the State House passing this bill. But even when we pass the bill to eliminate abortion in Ohio, we need to, again, create and ensure that our tax dollars are being used wisely and are there to help our city, county services. That our tax dollars at the city and county level are used to help women too. We need to make sure that our healthcare is appropriate. We have mobile healthcare, telemedicine, anything in all 88 counties. All 88 counties are unique. Most people live in the big cities of Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, and the surrounding counties, but over 70 of the 88 counties are rural Ohio. We need to make sure that we're meeting the rural needs of rural Americans and rural women here in Ohio. So we have a lot of work to do. End of life issues are extremely important to us. Euthanasia, the other side is calling it death with dignity now, which is terrible. It's assisted suicide, of course. And that's the new frontier that we'll be facing once we're ensured that abortion is no more in Ohio.
Mike, thank you so much for joining me today and breaking this down.